Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Brittany, and I'm here with my beautiful friend, Sister Des. And we're sitting, you can probably tell if you're watching the video that we're in a beachy location. We're in Mancora, where Des lives. And if you hear any background noise, it's because all of the windows are open, because otherwise we would melt from the heat. Mm-hmm. So thank you for your patience with any background noise. But yeah, we're here to talk about all kinds of things today, whatever comes up, but it's been a really long time coming. And first of all, Des and I met when I was first working as a facilitator, an ayahuasca facilitator, and she was there. She just so happened to be there the first 2 weeks that I was working there. Mm. So do you want to tell us about how you came to the jungle and ayahuasca and how we met? And if you want, you can start your story even before that.
Okay. So, yeah, the story starts before that, because first time I actually drank ayahuasca was not in the jungle. I went to the valley because I thought, oh, the jungle is scary. It's going to be just out there. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the valley and I had actually a terrible experience. It was a center with like fake shamans. Mm-hmm. And then I had to wait 2 years until I could go back to the jungle because of COVID. Mm. And then finally I found Dreamglade. And it was like best luck ever because of the people working there, shamans, the owner, facilitators, everybody. But that's how I came to the jungle.
Yes. Yeah. That's awesome. And you can probably hear from her voice that she's Italian.
I guess, yeah.
I should have said that. But you can hear. I mean, Des is amazing. She also... How many languages do you speak?
Almost 5.
Almost 5. Okay.
Almost 5.
And I'm still trying to learn Spanish.
You're learning Spanish. It's great. You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm doing my best. So yeah, what was it like to come from Italy to Peru?
Normal.
Yeah.
No, it was normal because, like, okay, maybe I have to say I've been working as a flight attendant for 8 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of used to be just like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like if it's jungle, if it's India, if it's like Vietnam, or like actually I feel more comfortable in countries that the West will define as like developing countries than in the actual West, because the actual West is madness somehow. Yeah. And like being in those countries that we say they're developing, they're actually so much more connected. They have so much. Just like they live a better life. They might not have the comfort or the standards that we think to be good, but they actually live a simpler, easier life with so much less stress.
Yeah.
Less of the stuff that makes us need to go to the jungle to drink ayahuasca, basically.
Yeah, I think me and you have that in common. I remember the first time I ever went to what we call like a third world country, and I just felt so at home. And which is weird because a lot of people are like, it's so dirty, it's so dangerous. But I was like, this is where I belong, like Mexico or, Southeast Asia. So I definitely feel that. I know a lot of people can't quite relate to that, but there are a lot of people who can.
Yeah.
And so, what was your experience? Well, we don't have to, whichever ayahuasca experience you want to talk about, you can talk about. What was your experience like?
All right. So, there are some lucky people out there that will drink ayahuasca the first time and be, oh, it was such a bliss. I connect beautifully with the best side of the medicine. For me, like coming with a background of like abuse in childhood, like problems in the family, being bullied at school and all sorts of weird stuff, it was a nightmare. It was tough. Mm-hmm. It was like, I wasn't even prepared because I guess a part of me is like, I will not look too much into things before doing them, because if I know too much, then like the part of my brain that wants to protect me will set up a barrier. So I'm just like, okay, let's just go for it and see whatever happens. Mm-hmm. I just went and then I was like, boom, smashed with like all of my trauma to my face. And I was like, oh, maybe I might not be that ready to deal with that. And it was just like fear and terror. Like if you want to look at it from the spiritual side, it was like all of these dark energies coming to me. If you want to look at that from the like more human side and way of defining it, it was like all the fear, all the trauma, all the things that I had been like holding inside and trying to not look at, they were at once at my face. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
How did you cope with that? What was it like after that experience?
So, the first time I came to Peru to drink, I didn't sleep for 6 months. I was having terrible nightmares for 6 months. Like every time I would close my eyes, I was having visions of like monsters and whichever bad things you can imagine. But that's because the people that were holding ceremonies there, they were not actual shamans; they are actually psychotherapists with no competencies. So like they just let energy move and things from other people jumping to their neighbors in the Maloca. And then basically I went home more messed up than I was before. So I couldn't come back because of COVID. So I was dealing there for these 2 years with all of that stuff, like nightmares over nightmares. I worked a lot with lucid dreaming. I went to do a yoga teacher training. I started learning Reiki. So actually it brought me to learn all the skills that I guess I needed to learn, which was very unpleasant, but with a good outcome.
Yeah.
That was tough.
I'm so proud of you because, I mean, first of all, that's a really, really tough experience to go through. But then a lot of people just like don't know what to do after that, especially if they didn't have people who knew what they were doing when they were guiding them through, and they end up worse than they started. But I just want to say that's awesome that you like dove headfirst into all these other modalities, and then not only that, but like you had the bravery and the strength to come back to ayahuasca.
Desperation.
Desperation. Some could call it that, yes. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix. Yeah, I want to point out, like, I actually ended up to a priest.
Did you?
Because it was this phase where
right.
I was living in Abu Dhabi and I had so many nightmares that I started sleeping in my friends' sofas. Whoever was home, I would sleep on their sofa. And then one of them, which is a super Catholic guy from Egypt, like it's a specific branch of like Christianity.
Okay.
And he got worried about what I told him, and he brought me to this priest and gifted me a cross to put in my house, which is so sweet from him. So thank you. But it's kind of funny because the priest was just looking at me like not believing any of what I was sharing.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I knew that. I need to go back to the jungle.
Okay, so he didn't really do anything for you.
No.
Okay.
He asked me if I ever did any drugs.
He's like, you've done a little too much acid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what he asked, and yeah.
Wow.
And then finally I could come back to the jungle, and you were there.
Amazing. Yeah, we got along so well right away, and I always tell this story because I'm like, we got along immediately. Like, I remember when you were in the truck and you just had this like big smile on, and I thought you said your name was Daisy because your name is Desiree, Des, whatever. It's all beautiful, and I was like, she's such a daisy. Like, you just remind me of a daisy flower, and you were so smiley. And you just made the first week of my job like so nice because I was a little stressed out. I mean, especially because it was the first week of my job, but also because my dad was there as a guest.
Hi, Dad of Breed.
Yay, Craig.
We love you.
We
Hey,
love
Craig.
you so much. Yeah, that was amazing because I was like, I didn't realize how stressed I was until he left, and then I was like, okay, like that was an additional pressure. But anyway, having you there was so nice, and you're just so positive about everything. Like, I was nervous about teaching yoga, and you were so positive. And then I find out that you can just do like everything that you set your minds to. Like, you learn all these languages. You were just doing these like crazy poi balls for this jungle party. I don't know. I just was like, this girl is so cool. And then the more we talked, the more we were like, this is like a real thing.
Do you want me to cry on the podcast?
Maybe. I encourage crying.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. And it still is. Like, I just felt like, I'm like, am I talking about a romantic partner? But we had like an instant connection.
It's so true.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, I just remember, maybe it wasn't the end, but at some point we were sitting on rocking chairs, smoking mapachos, and you were like, I feel like we're going to be like old grandmas doing this at some point, and the thought just made me feel really warm and fuzzy, and also it felt real. I'm like, this woman's going to be in my life. I'm like, so special and awesome. And I just remember so many ceremonies. I don't even really remember what happened for us, but like us just talking really late after the ayahuasca ceremonies, just like talking about all kinds of weird stuff. And Des would be like, oh, I like saw these devils and I saw the demons and I saw this dark stuff, and I'd be like, that's crazy, I only see light stuff. And now By the way, that's all changed.
Changed.
Ayahuasca reeled me in like fish on a bait hook with all this beautiful stuff. And it turns out Des didn't need that because she's a badass and wasn't scared off by the darkness and all of these crazy creatures that you told. Do you remember when he talked about the boobs?
Oh, yeah. But actually, like, I feel like for me it was inspiring because I was so into this spiral of darkness that knowing you are like, oh no, because remember you were like, I feel I should not look into the darkness. My role is to keep up the light. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait. That's interesting. Like, okay, not just always swim in the darkness, but like keep up the light. Mm-hmm. And like now I'm in this space where like I'm still definitely like walking through the darkness because darkness is there, but we can do it holding a big light. So
yes, and it's funny you reflect those words back to me because that's still true. It's like, okay, despite everything I've seen, I'm like, that's still true for me, and I've still had those ceremonies where it's like you're in the fucking darkness, but like you still have to be the light.
You have to be the light.
Don't stare at the darkness. Like, and no matter what I go through, even though it's been a lot of darkness recently, it's still that same message. So I'm like, yeah, it's not like she lied to me or something, but it's like just more advanced levels. Like, can you still hold the light when you don't remember what love is? Like, can you still hold the light when you're in complete despair and hopelessness? And so far, my answer was no. So.
But I mean, you're here, healthy, happy, smiling. So even if there are moments where it's like being crashed down, then you can stand up again.
I'm fucking resilient. I'll give myself that. Yeah, I get back on the horse. But yeah, next time I'll do better. But anyway, back to you. So then, what happened after? Like, because that was a while ago. That I guess that was like 3 years ago at this point.
A little more, I think. It was 2021.
Wow. Okay, and it's 2025? That's crazy. That's so then, was it the next time that you came back with your mom? Or okay. Yeah, that was wild.
No, wait. Okay, yeah. Yeah, second time I came with my mom.
Okay.
For 2 weeks.
And how was that?
Wow. I mean, like, we can look at it from so many different perspectives. Like, now a part of me is like, oh, did I do it for me or for her? Probably for both. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was helpful because I could, like, it was like, okay, I've been doing my whole best to help her throughout all of my life, make sure she feels better, all of that. And then that was like the last thing I can try to help her. More than that, I don't have the power to do, and then it's on her hands. So for her, she couldn't drink because of some medication she takes. But I think she got some help.
Yeah, I think so.
I think she got some help, yeah.
That's good. And then after that, was that when you decided to quit your job, or was that before? I don't remember the order of things.
Let's see. Well,
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but at some point...
I mean, it was like... But I wanted to quit my job since 2 years into my job. It took me 8 years. So like, it was a process, but I had started working part-time, 50%, before coming to live the second time.
Okay.
And then after that, I went back home, and then the next step was actually taking 3 years off.
Okay.
So not officially resigning, but taking 3 years off.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so what did you do during that time off?
I'm here. No, but let's say, okay, before going back to Dream Glade, the second time I was working for 3 months in Sri Lanka as a yoga teacher, and so like taking this first step from like the West into living a different life, being on the beach, that's where I belong, honestly, and taking it slower, simple life, and then I went to a jungle, and then I went back home. And actually, just recently, some guys at the beach were like, we were speaking, and then they were like, oh, how long did it take you to readapt to the West after teaching yoga in Sri Lanka? I'm like, well, next step was actually taking 3 years off, so I never did. And I remember this moment where I landed back in Zurich at the main train station. It was March, cold. After 3 months of being at the beach without shoes or with flip-flop, and barely like bikini or just shorts, being in the cold, and like Sri Lankan lifestyle is like they're chill and slow, and they're Buddhist, so like the religion for them is like there is this huge sense of peace in the country. It's like it's not officially a religion, it's something else. How do they say? It's like more
like a way of life,
like philosophy, way of life. But like there is so much peace in the country, and there is so much relaxation and trust. And then you get into Zurich in March, in the cold, at the main train station, at the time where everybody's either going to work or coming back to work. I was like, hey, what's going on here? I remember it was so shocking. And then I went back to work, and I was like, ooh, it's tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough.
How long did you go back to work for before you decided to take a break?
6 months.
Okay.
So basically I went to work for 6 more months. Then I had 3 more months of break. And during these 6 months that I was basically 3 months in working, it was the time where I applied for 3 years off. So...
Okay. And what made you decide? Was there like one thing that made you decide that you needed a break from this Western life, or was it a bunch of things?
Bunch of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's like, it's not normal.
Yeah. Like it is so normal for everybody.
It's so
in the West.
normal because they make us believe, I'm talking as a conspiracy theorist probably, like they make you think it's normal to work so many hours. Yeah. Have no free time. Your free time is do your laundry, do grocery. You're always like stuck in a cage or in a building with no fresh air in winter, in the cold. Maybe you cannot even open windows in some offices. Like the training academy where we go, there is no windows because, I mean, they have window, but you cannot open it. There is no handle because they have very sophisticated air conditioning system. And like 30 minutes inside, I get terrible headache. I'm like, that's not okay.
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory because that's just actually what's happening.
It's facts, yeah, I know.
It's just like what's happening.
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, I cannot keep doing that. And I lived the first years of my life at the beach. So I was always wanting to go back to the beach.
Yeah.
And when I was like 11 or 12, there was this movie series on television with this like Australian surfing college. And there were these guys surfing when they were going to school. I was like, wait, that looks cool. So I always wanted to learn surfing.
Yeah.
And in the end I learned surfing. I was like, okay, but I'm surfing like once a year. I want to actually surf. I was like, okay, I need to move back to the beach.
And you had that thought when you were like 12? Or no? This was older.
I mean, I always wanted to live at the beach, but then it's like, I was like, yeah, if I live at the beach, what job can I do? It's like seasonal jobs, be a waitress, like nothing against any kind of job. But I was like, it's not my dream to be a waitress, especially not in Italy where you really get paid anything. So like work a crazy hard season with crazy working hours, no time to rest, and then what? And then you don't even have really money to travel the rest of the time. So I was like, that doesn't really make sense to me.
Right.
So I actually want to be at the beach and enjoy the beach, not be at the beach and work inside.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I always wanted to be back at the beach and find a way to be back at the beach. Now here we are.
So this is so exciting to talk about because it's like we're not just at the beginning stages of talking about all of this and being like, oh, I wonder what you could do. It's like you're living your dream now. Like you're actually living in this like really cool beach bungalow. I know you can't see much of it now, but it's beautiful and you're living so close to the beach. It's like a couple minutes walk to the beach and you surf all the time and you're cooking in your beautiful kitchen. And it's just like you were just saying the other day how this is what you manifested. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So basically when I was flying, of course as a flight attendant, like the sleeping pattern is messed up.
Yeah.
Because like you can have a flight at taking off at 10 p.m., which means you have to start working at like 8:30 p.m. Get ready 7:30 p.m. for a 12 hours flight, which means like a 14-hour shift.
I'm already tired.
Say we're going to São Paulo. And then when you will land to São Paulo, because of the time difference, it's going to be morning, but you have already been up the whole night.
I'm exhausted.
And then it's like, oof, what happens with your sleeping rhythm? It's messed up.
Yeah.
So like, you don't get to sleep, you don't get to cook because you are mostly you are just somewhere else, so you have to eat out most of the time. And if you're home, you have days off, but also you are so tired, and then it's like, it's not like you have time, energy, and desire to cook healthy meals. It's more like, I need to recover.
Right.
So like, I wish I could sleep. I wish I could cook food. I wish I could be next to the beach. Now here we are. Yes.
It's so cool. And also it's funny because I've heard this from a lot of people, actually just Adam, who we were talking to the other day, but where it's like he's doing something he's always wanted to do and traveling across South America and he's hitchhiking, but at some points his mind is like doing the inevitable thing that all of our minds do, which is like, but what am I doing? Like, what's next? What am I going to... And it's funny to me that our brains, like, when we have a goal and we reach that goal, we're almost immediately like looking for the next thing. Yeah. And so I just thought it was really cool that you had a moment the other day where you were like, you realized that you were living exactly what you wanted. You're like, wait, all I'm doing is surfing and cooking. Wait, that's exactly that's exactly what I wanted.
Because like the mind focuses so much on what I still didn't achieve, which is like, okay, I'm doing my best to start my own business. So like working with Reiki, with sound healing, with plant medicine, but that's like, I'm starting. And I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm, my savings are going down. I'm not really making money. I'm doing nothing the whole day, but it's not true. I'm taking care of myself the whole day. And I'm slowly creating the basis for the work that I want to do. Yeah. But the mind is so much on, like, I was honestly so focused on like what I don't have yet. And then when you arrived, I was like, oh wait, the 3 things that were on my manifestation board, I had them. Yeah. I was like, wait, that's what?
It's so amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And it's so cool because also like you're doing exactly what you wanted to do and you're still taking steps to like get the future that you want. Yeah. So I think you're doing both things where it's like appreciating what you have and being grateful for where you're at now and seeing that like, wow, I actually got my manifestation. Yeah. But also like I see you every day working a little bit on like your business or what you want to create. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about what you want to create from here, from this already great manifestation.
Oh, okay, yes. But actually, you're included in that because it's like a common vision that we have since a long while. So yeah, we both work with medicine, with plant medicine, and we want to host like retreats, which you're already doing.
Yes, but you will eventually join us.
I eventually join, and like I have a place where people can just come and take time to breathe. Like, it can be like mild healing, so like having retreats where it's like more yoga, Reiki, sound healing, and putting on different kind of workshops, and then actual tough work with ayahuasca, and eventually San Pedro.
Yes.
And then having a land, like saying it's the simplest thing ever, but it's wild how hard it is to create that in this world. Because it feels like you want to do, like, it feels like I want to do something so out there, but actually I want land with fruits, a lot of a lot of trees with fruits. Yes. Plant my own veggies, and have enough food to cook without going to the market, and eat my own food. Yep. Eventually a couple of chickens. A natural pool that is like a pool where you don't need to put chlorine, with plants that clean the water themselves. Trees that make shade. Yep. And then host like super cool workshops with nice people that come around, like tarots, making candles, making incense, or making
soaps,
like all the cool stuff. Let's say, I don't know, there is a place. There is like rooms. That's the place where I live, of course. And then there is room for guests and for a space for hosting the retreats and the ceremonies. But then there is also a place for like volunteers or workers or people that come through for like, I don't know. I'd love to stay there for a month and make an exchange. Like, okay, you can host these workshops and ceremonies and stuff, and you can stay there and just really kind of a community. That word, community.
Community. Yeah, it's so cool because like we've had the same vision since we met, and I'm like, it's actually getting closer. I still feel like, I don't know, at least something I struggled with. Like, I don't really struggle with it lately because I'm just so happy in Peru with all of you guys, all my friends, all of my plant friends. But I also feel like it is hard sometimes when you're like, okay, I have this vision and it doesn't feel like I'm actually taking physical steps to get there. But right now, the work that we're putting in, especially with the plants and with ayahuasca and with each other, isn't something that you can like really see. Yeah. It's just a lot of time, commitment, and discipline, and trust, which is like really tough for us and for probably for everybody, especially coming from the West, where it's like our worth is measured by productivity. And when you look at our lives, like, we're not being very productive, quote unquote. And that has been something I've rubbed up against, where it's just like, what am I doing? Like, am I doing enough? Like, am I actually, like, I'm just talking about this idea, but what am I doing? And I'm like, I have to recenter myself, or like reel myself back in and be like, no, I'm doing the steps that I need to take, and things will unfold. I think it's also harder as we get older. For some reason, it's like not that hard for me anymore. But when I first entered 30, I was like, that's it. I'm so old. Like, I'm over the hill. Like, I'm too. And now I'm just like, I'm 34, and I don't give a fuck. Like, it's like everything's unfolding exactly as it needs to. I don't need to rush anything. And also, I feel like if we rushed things or tried to force things, it's like we might miss some of the magic that's meant for us.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing on trust that I've been learning from Peruvians, so thank you, Peruvians, is so it's okay. I'm from Italy, and Italy is like, we have the Pope and the church, so people think like Italians are very religious. No. Italians are like religious on the screen, but actually nobody, like, there is, like, the relationship that Peruvians have with God is something so new to me, because they actually have a relationship with God. It's not like, oh, let's put on a good dress, go to church, and talk badly about the neighbor, because that's what happened in Italian small towns. Like, that's what it is. It's like, oh, we just go to church so that people see that we are going to church.
Right.
And it's terrible. But here, people actually have a relationship with God. And there is a sentence that's been told to me so many times since I'm here, is like, keep faith. Like, have faith. Do it with faith. And when I would hear that in the past, for me it was just like something people will tell you, like, yeah, okay, you know, like,
keep the faith.
Keep, And here, I hear it in a different way. It's like, no, if you really put faith, it's gonna happen. And I'm like, oh, wow, wait. It's true. And it's so, like, it's, like, for me, if I think about my childhood, like, my personal relationship with God, and it's not like the God from the church, it's like, you know, universe, God, source, however people want to call it, it's been, like, really controversial, because as a kid, I was kind of, like, I would say if back home somebody really says, I strongly believe in God, it almost seems crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
I thought those people were totally cuckoo.
Yes, for me too, I was like, come on. And I can still see there is like some kind of, it's definitely not shame, but more like some reserve in saying, no, I'm fully believing you. Even if, you know, like, with ceremonies and medicine, with plant medicine, ceremonies, all of that, like, you connect with something bigger, with source and with all of that. But then it's like, no, when it comes to actually saying it, I'm still like, whoa, am I really saying that?
Yeah.
And then there is like people here that are like, yeah, trust God. I'm like, oh, wow. And it's so wild.
Something clicked.
Yeah, for me it's like, you know, it's so basic but so wild.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, the point is, like, I learned that people actually mean it when they say have faith.
That's beautiful.
Actually, just a few minutes before we did the podcast, there was a girl that I'm trying to do an event with. She messaged me and she was like, right now I'm waiting for the answer if we can host the event together at that spot. Send some prayers. I was like, she actually texted me to ask me to send some prayers. So it's not just like, blah, 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 let's send some prayers. Like,
this is what you should do.
That's what you should do right now.
This is what we do.
And I'm like, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Like, really putting power into it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that until you said that. I'm like, I still feel a little bit sheepish saying something like, I don't think, I mean, maybe I could, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever just said to somebody like, trust God. Because it feels crazy. Like, at least I could definitely say it to, like, for example, Lydia, Curandera.
Oh, yeah.
Or any Peruvian, sure, but anyone back at home? No. Instead, like, it's way chiller to just say, like, trust the universe.
Yeah.
Which I think Lou was the one telling me this, which is awesome. He was telling me about his teacher, Leslie, when people are like, trust the universe, she'll stop them and say, like, say God. Say God, because who created the universe? And it's like, why are you going to the thing that is created by source instead of source itself. Like that just seems silly. It's like, oh, thank you, body, instead of like, thanks, Brittany, like all that I am. It's like, why are you just thanking one part of what's been manifested? I don't know. It just, when she said that, I was like, that's badass.
Makes sense.
Because to just say that to people requires courage. And I don't know if I have that kind of courage yet to just say to anybody, like, trust God. Because they would look at me like I'm stupid. Like I used to look at people like that.
And not even crazy. It's like stupid.
Just
like,
dumb.
Yeah. That's so wild. Like when you say like telling my family trust God. Now I just picture myself telling my auntie or my mom trust God.
Yeah. Like, there's a time and a place, and there's definitely certain people that we cannot say that to.
Yeah.
But I feel like with us, it's like actually crazy powerful. Like when I was in this crazy ayahuasca ceremony recently with Paige, and I was having a really hard time for the first time in a while. Like I haven't been this like uncentered, ungrounded on ayahuasca in a long time, and I was just sitting there, and she was talking, and I was like literally holding onto the ground. And I was like, I'm not really okay right now. Like I started telling her that, and she was like, yeah, just pray to God. And I was like,
yeah.
Like in that moment, I was like, oh, like it just felt so comforting.
Yeah.
And like clearly the right thing to do. Just ask God. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, right. Like sometimes I forget.
It's so basic and so right, but still there is part of my brain which is like, so silly.
It can't be that easy.
It can't be that easy, you know?
We want to make everything so complicated. And I don't know why, for some reason, the intellectuals and the academics, because I used to be like a part of that crowd, was like, yeah, it's really dumb to be anything except an atheist. Like, you're so stupid if you believe in God. And I don't know when or how or why that happened. I mean, it's probably some sort of agenda. Again, this is getting into conspiracy theories. But like,
come on.
It has to be the truth, because why would all of a sudden it be this like big thing that everyone thinks it's really stupid to believe that there's a reason we're here and there's something that created all of this? Because for me, I think it's insane not to think that. One of my favorite quotes that I heard recently was about like this guy talking about scientists, and he was, I think it might have been Terrence McKenna, but I don't remember. He's like, what scientists say is, give us one miracle and we'll explain the rest. Because to me, I'm like, oh, that's so good. Because basically they're like, well, we can't explain the Big Bang or why we're here, but we'll try to explain everything else and just ignore that. And it's like, those are the big important questions that we're not asking. Anyway, I don't know how we got on this route of science, but yeah, I just love that quote, because it's like, just ignore this big miracle, the fact that we're living, the fact that we're here.
Just ignore it, right?
just don't look at it.
Yeah. I don't know how, but what you just said makes me think about a few conversations I had with actually a couple of pilots at the time I was flying. Because like the point, like sometimes I was kind of enjoying to poke people a tiny bit into questioning stuff. So it was not like, okay, going straight into ayahuasca, God, the devil, all of that. But it was like your soul. And I remember like there was this one guy, older guy, like a pilot, you know, like traditional, old, like a man in that sense. And I was just like the other guy, the co-pilot, was really cool and chill, and we were talking. And then I could see the pilot getting really tense about our conversation about. I mean, Switzerland is an open country, and like they're super open about psychedelics. There's a lot of research, a lot of experiments. So that was the conversation, like how they use different kinds of psychedelics to treat certain conditions. That was the conversation, and then somehow we got into the soul or the benefits of those substances, and I could see the body of the pilot getting tense. I could really, the air was getting so tense. So I started asking him questions, and it was like, there is no proof that you have a soul. I was like, okay, well, if we go back 2,000 years, there was no proof that the heart was round. So now we do have proof of that. So it's like, if we don't have the science right now to explain something, it doesn't mean that something doesn't exist or can't be proven. It's just like, we don't have the instruments right now, but hopefully we're going to have them in the future. It was like, no. It's like, it can't be proven. So I was like, wait. But so I tried again, like, yeah, but do you see how a certain thing couldn't be explained first because there was no instrument? But as science advanced, then you can explain those things, right? And he had so much resistance to it, and I was like, wow, that's wild.
And I wonder why people are so afraid to have a soul.
Yeah.
Like, why is that so scary? Why is it more scary than not having a soul?
Yeah, like souls, spirits, and your guardians, all the beautiful things that are out there.
Yeah. I guess it's just because people are afraid of what they can't see or what they can't know or what they can't touch or measure. But to me, I remember when I had a very brief time of being like kind of atheist, and I remember talking to my grandparents who are definitely super atheists, and I'm like, well, what happens after you die? This was when I was young, but like, what do you guys think happens when you die? And they're like, nothing, just blackness, just darkness. And to me, that was like so painful. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just like, it just felt wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, it just felt off. And it wasn't, oh, I'm scared of that, so I just don't want it to be true. It was this feeling of like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Like, that can't be right. It just doesn't feel right. And I remember, I think it's Alan Watts who said something like, what happens after we die is just like what happens before we were born. Like, you don't remember it. It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, we don't remember being born, most of us.
Most of us, yeah, I don't.
Or even the first few years of life. So it's like, did those not happen? Were we not alive?
I mean, I don't remember the meal I had a few days ago. Did those happen?
Right.
I don't remember sleeping. Did it happen?
Did it happen? Was it just some darkness that...
It was just darkness.
It was just complete darkness just because we don't remember it? Like, I don't know. That seems totally insane to me.
But I was one of those atheists because, like, I mean, I always knew there was something. But also I was like, you know, there is no God and everything. Like, we're all here just by coincidence, you know?
Right.
But then I would be like, yeah, I do see spirits. Like, I've seen the ghost of this lady in my house, and I believe that, but I actually don't believe God, which doesn't make sense. Like, if I look at it now, it's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, a lot of the things don't make sense. I guess they're just cultural or what we learn.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's so wild.
It is wild that we're sitting here talking about God, though, given that both of us had a time period where we were, like, thinking that sounded really stupid.
But I think also, like, I mean, the way that God was presented when I was a kid, like at school or in the church, made me really not have a good relationship with God.
Yeah, me too.
Because, like, if they would be like, God is, you know, beauty and light and creation and source and what brings life, sounds good. But if it's like, Wednesday afternoon, after school and after homework, you have to go to this room and do another lesson about learning prayers with this person, which is possibly frustrated or whatever, and being, I don't like, that's not that appealing.
No.
If you would be like in the forest and saying, look at this plant, how it grows, that's part of God. It will make a different effect.
Look at the perfection of a mango tree.
Yeah.
You know? Like, this thing is just like dropping these delicious candy fruits.
Yeah, or like, look at the plant, how its leaves change and grow every day. Then you would actually think, oh, that's wild. It's like, there is some higher power into that.
No, but instead we're taught there's like some dude, some man in the sky who's like really judgmental.
Yeah, and sitting there and doing...
He's just like, this fucking human.
Yeah.
He's messed up. He's going to hell and he's going to burn forever. And it's like, do you think that if a God created everyone in his image, that he would, A, judge them, and B, like, damn them to eternal hell?
No.
It's like, if he made us, then we're perfect. We can't fuck up.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's... I think a big part of my resistance to God is the fact that he's pictured as a man.
A man. Possibly with a beard, like a white bearded dude who sits up in the clouds just judging people.
Exactly.
And that just seems ridiculous. Yeah. That's always seemed ridiculous. It seems crazy, but when I say God, that's definitely not what I picture. It's just like the energy that is everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's everything. It's, as Ram Dass says, all that is.
All that is. That makes
all
sense.
That is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could talk about also, I wanted to ask you about your... like, how you've dealt with your emotions since all of these changes have taken place. Because I know it's been, like, probably been a crazy emotional roller coaster?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. Like, how I deal with my emotions. Most of the time, I'm really tired.
Yeah.
Um,
Are there any practices you have that have been helpful for you to deal with, like for example, going back to work after dealing with some darkness during plant medicine retreats, going back to work and then realizing like you need a different lifestyle,
Yeah.
and then coming halfway across the world to do a different lifestyle? Like, has there been anything that you can recommend to other people who are in a similar position?
Yes. If like for people that would like to live their lifestyle in the West and do something different, don't let other people's fears become your fear. Because like I remember the time when I was so basic for me the process, like I will like there was a part of me that was like not fully ready to like Adam. He just resigned. But Adam is from Canada, and it's easy to find a job in Canada with these qualifications. I'm Italian, and in Italy, the relationship with job is quite different. And I actually have a pretty nice job. Like, my job is not terrible. Just exhausting, but, like, there are some benefits.
Yeah.
So I was not that sure if I wanted to leave it for good. So, like, I took 3 years off. But even doing that, it was a big step, because I remember this, a colleague one day, I was telling her, like, I'm thinking to apply for a 3 years break. And she was like, and what about your retirement funds? You will have a whole of 3 years. That's not good. I was like, wait. So you're telling me I should keep working all of my life? Because otherwise my retirement funds will have a whole of 3 years, which is going to just mean I will have a little less. I'm not sure if I'm going to be alive at that time. So why, like, that's the whole thing, like, living life just thinking about the time when I will be retired. It's so wrong. And it's so much fear-based. It's like, trust is trusting. Like, come on, I can find a job. Like, people, there are jobs. It's like, you know, we are obviously not like career-driven, wanted to be CEO or some weird thing. Like, there are jobs that pay you enough to eat.
Right.
So...
And we were just talking too, because we had this like beautiful chill day out on the beach and by the pool and at a coffee shop, and it's not like we can go around spending a ton of money, but it's also like our life is like a lot of people's vacations.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're not making a ton of money, but we don't need it.
Yeah. Like, so wait, let's...
Rewind.
Yeah. Don't let fears of other people affect you. Like,
period. She said what she said.
Talk with people that have already done it or want to do it and see the positive side of it and trust that you're being taken care of. Because people who live in fear will always have more fear to throw at you. And that's very contagious. So, like, stay out of that and keep walking a straight line.
Keep your eyes on your own path.
Yeah. And then what you just said about, like, we don't need that much money makes me think about a dear friend. And I wish this person the best for his life. He earns tons of money. He has a great job. He earns so much. But he's always short of money. He works early morning to late evening. Might go for like a weekend in a super fancy hotel and spend tons of money. And they do holidays in expensive places. But he's deeply unhappy. And like we have many conversations about that. And he would love to quit his job. And he would love to have more time and do something more fulfilling and blah, 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 blah. But he earns tons of money and spend tons of money on the car, on the rent, on this and that, and especially on ways to fill up the emotional hole that is not filling with the good things that we can have in life.
Yeah, so like, it's never going to be enough.
Yeah. So it's like, we do.
Oh my God, what? I'm pausing this.
Gracias.
Okay, so we just had to take a little break because Des's really sweet neighbors dropped off a loaf of bread through the window, and it really freaked Des out. That was great.
Not used to that.
If you see the video, her face is amazing. Keep that in.
I guess it's a fart.
That was amazing.
Hi, Carly.
definitely
wasn't, but it sounded like
exactly like you farted. Yeah, this was great. So now we have a fresh loaf of bread. But anyway, as we were saying, you were talking about wealthy people and how that doesn't bring you happiness.
Yeah, I see. Like, I have at least 3 examples of men that have tons of money, work so hard for their money because they want one day to enjoy their money. But is that one day coming? Like, and I don't want to be over dramatic, even if sometimes I am. It's like, you don't know if that one day is coming because you might die any moment. And we all hope to be healthy and alive for long and have like, if you want to have kids, grandkids, whatever, if you just want to be happy, like you, your dog, you, your plants, you, yourself, whatever, like live a long, healthy life. But the truth is, we don't know.
We have no idea. And I mean, 2 things on that. One, my dad always says a quote that I love, which is someday never comes.
Yeah.
It's just like, of course, sometimes it does, but a lot of times it doesn't. People can just say someday their whole life. And another interesting thing I've seen about at least this current generation, like our parents' age, they're so scared to stop working. Like, they don't know what to do if they're not working. So their whole lives, they're saving up for this retirement and this age when everything's going to be perfect and it's in the future, so they're not worried about it. And then all of a sudden the one day comes where they can retire and they don't want to.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like, they just don't want to because they have no idea what to do with their time.
It's so sad because, like, if you look at it really in a kind of objective way, it means they never had the possibility to actually develop a relationship with themselves and their passions. Because, like, if I think about myself, okay, I'm full of hobbies and interests and exploring things. Like, now less than before because, like, I could, like, growing up, then I kind of know what I like, what I don't like, and I've done enough exploration to know what I like now.
Right.
But then I'm like, okay, like, right now I'm not really working. I'm trying to do, like, sound healing sessions and Reiki sessions. I have one once in a while. But then my day basically is like, okay, I wake up, and I surf either morning or evening or both, and then I go to the market, buy some food and cook. And then, okay, I want to put in a yoga practice. I want to put in some meditation time. The day is over. Like, sometimes like, I haven't journaled in so long. And I'm like, what have I been doing the whole time? So, or like, I mean, how do you put 8 hours of work in there?
I have no idea. As someone who's also, like, basically unemployed, people ask me what I do, and I'm like, every day looks so different, but also similar. Like you said, I wake up, I do my long morning practice. For me, it's dancing instead of surfing, but I do dancing, I do breath work, sometimes I do self-pleasure. Like, I do all of these things, and that takes like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then I have breakfast with Kevin, my roommate, and then I read or I do whatever I want. And then it's like, every day, like, where do I fit in the 9-to-5 job? Like, I'm doing so many things. I'm doing my Vita program. I'm doing this, like, program with my trance work therapist. But, like, basically it's all just, like, stuff that I want to be doing and learning right now. And it's not stuff that's making me money, but it's, like, stuff I'm investing in for my future. But it's, like, I don't have that much free time. Where I'm just, like, sitting around, like, circling my thumbs around. Like, I'm never bored.
Like, a thing that I appreciate a lot is, like, okay, definitely a lot of my time goes into working because I don't have any transportation and I enjoy walking. So I'm like,
I love it.
And I'm not rushing. So I'm just like, I am walking to the market, not running to the market. Or like,
not speed walking with your head down.
No. And like, for example, like, that's wild, but it's like, I'm doing laundry. So I'm like, I'm putting clothes in the laundry and hanging the clothes. I'm not rushing through it. It's like I'm just doing it kind of, okay, I'll not say I'm doing it presently, doing it being so present. No, but I'm doing it and I'm not like, okay, I have to hang the laundry. No,
in between meetings.
Yeah. Or like I'm taking a shower. I'm not running into the shower. I'm actually washing myself, which seems wild. But before, like, so many of the daily tasks were just like squeezed into a tiny minute.
Oh my gosh,
and I was always, I have to rush. And I have, it's not like, oh, I'm taking a shower, making my body clean and taking care of myself. It's like, I have to take a shower. It's like,
it's so crazy. Even when you said that, I just got this, like, rush of this memory of my old self in my 20s when I was working. And sometimes it was crazy. Like, I'd wake up, the alarm would go off, I would immediately get out of bed, change into my gym clothes, go to the hotel gym if I was staying in a hotel for business, run on the treadmill, be thinking about all the things I had to do after, like go take a shower, still be sweaty, put on my makeup, like everything. From the moment my eyes opened, I was just like moving, like so fast. Especially because I was taking Vyvanse, which is like Adderall, which is like go productivity machine. But my God, even thinking about that makes my nervous system kind of like like it was so stressful. And I feel like even then when you're in that kind of lifestyle and then you try to take a vacation, it's so hard. Like I see people come to these retreats and they don't know how to turn it off.
It's not like there is a study that was made about, I think it was about flying people, like pilots, cabin crew, and like so many of them or us after retiring had heart attacks. And it was basically, I think it was, I don't remember the exact thing, but it was kind of, they're just not you. They're always used to be on this that the moment you stop, your body, your old system doesn't know how to cope with it.
Oh my God.
That's so wild.
That is wild. I didn't know that could happen. I mean, you think about the reverse happening.
I think it was heart attack. It might be some other disease, but it was like some wild thing. I was like, oh, wow.
I believe it, though, because, I see people at retreats or even on vacations. They don't know how to stop. They're like, especially if people come to visit me, they're like, what do we do? Like, what are we doing? Give me the schedule. Like, are we waking up at this time? We're going to have breakfast. We're going to go on a walk. We're going to go. And I'm like, let's just chill. Let's see
I was one of them. I was 100% one of them.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot to have your body just relax. Like I just talked to this girl who was thinking about coming on one of our retreats, and she wasn't even that worried about drinking ayahuasca. She was more worried about the downtime. She's like, but what am I gonna do? Like, there's so much time. There's so much free time. I'm not gonna have my cell phone. Like, what do we do?
But it makes sense because you're just used to fill up every single moment of your time. That then the idea of having all of the time without anything to fill it up
is scary.
You're just not used to do it. And then like, what do you do there? And that's the thing that makes me think about like something that for me is like a big disease of the society, which is like society is loud. Because people don't like what, this girl, for example, like you mentioned like the thing about being without her phone. And like, especially I noticed it here in South America, but like Europe was the same when I left. It was so freaking loud. Like people don't put headphones anymore. Like you're on a train and there is 3 different people with their phone really loud. One with music, one on a call, one
with a game.
That's with like a game. And it's like always like constantly having something loud. And like, why can't you listen to yourself? Why do you have to put something louder than your mind? Can you be with your mind? Can you be with your thoughts? And I'm definitely so much with my thoughts. Sometimes I should be more in my body. But like, listen to yourself. Don't make everything so freaking loud.
Yeah, I think what you just said is so true. I think most people are running away from the idea of sitting with themselves.
Yeah, like there is a very good and sad example of that, which is my ex's dad. He committed suicide, and he always had his radio going on. And once he said it straight, he was like, "Yeah, I have it on because I can't listen to my mind. My mind is too loud. My mind is bad." So he had the radio on the whole day.
Wow.
And it was kind of chill Swiss country music, so it was not cumbia. Just for the record, it's like, cumbia is on my nerves.
Yes, if you spend any time in Peru, you understand.
You would understand. But it was like kind of chill Swiss,
okay, good.
Nice music.
Yeah.
That an old guy would listen to, but it was always there. And it was his safety from his mind.
Right.
And he was aware of it. And then, unfortunately, he had a very bad ending of his life. But so many of the people out there that are always having this super loud music, they're maybe not even aware of it, but they're just putting something so loud
so
that
they can't
don't
hear themselves.
Yeah, and that's so sad.
It's so sad. And I think that girl was, self-aware and be honest. Like, I love that she said that because I was like, I think so many people are afraid of plant medicines. It's not because they're scared to see like demons or dark things, but it's because they're scared to sit with themselves for a few hours in the dark. And even if people come to ayahuasca retreats and they don't feel anything from ayahuasca, which happens a lot actually, but it's like that in itself, we tell people like, well, when's the last time you sat in the dark by yourself for 5 hours?
Yeah.
Like with no other distractions, you're just listening to the Shipibo Ikaros, you're just listening to the songs. Like, when's the last time you did that? So even that is like huge. It's like, oh, I didn't feel ayahuasca. Well, when's the last time you spent 3 nights, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sitting for 5 hours just with yourself? Like, that is a big experience for most people.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I never did that before.
I mean, I remember like the first time I started with meditation, and those 10 minutes would feel like hours. It was wild. It was wild. And about what you said, like about the fear of seeing monsters and demons, one thing that happened to me, like, okay, there are the people which are lucky out there that start having ayahuasca ceremonies easy, not too dramatic. I'm over dramatic, a drama queen, blah, 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 blah. And I think my first 17 ceremonies were just pure darkness. But then there was a moment of switching because I realized also I'm seeing so many demons because I rather look at demons that at their shape and meaning and form in this world. And then somewhere you're a demon and a monster, but here you are an emotion, here you are a trauma, here you are some abuse. So okay, I see you like this wild spider trying to eat me, but actually what are you? Anger, fear, sadness, let's look at the emotion. Where does the emotion come from? Which event created that? And the moment I started doing that work, then I started seeing less monsters.
Wow.
So I'm like, well, it was actually for my brain, which was sick spiritually, it was easier to look at something so scary and terrible than to look at the emotion behind it.
Woo.
So it's like, yeah, I'd rather look at demons than at emotions. I'd rather put out super loud music than feel.
Wow. That's wild. I just got goosebumps because I think actually a lot of people can relate to that. Even if they don't consciously know that about themselves, like we're so many people are so scared of feeling.
Yeah.
They're so scared to feel, which is like, to me, what being a human is. Mm-hmm. It's like we are creatures who feel. Or like we were just talking about a mix of doing and being. Stace used to have this amazing thing. He said, like, humans are like a jazz song, like doobie 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 doo. It's like right now when we were talking about all the stuff in the West, it's like so much do 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 do, and if you get to the being, people are like, what does that mean? What is that worth? Like, that's nothing. Yeah. But to do and to be and to feel, like feeling, I think people are so afraid to feel, and then when you finally feel, you're like, okay, that hurt, but it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, and even I feel like even after all this work, there is still a big part of me that doesn't want to feel. Like, let's say my back pain. People who know me, they know I have terrible back pain, and I'm working on it in so many different ways. And I know it's a mix of emotions. There is surely fear. There is something that I'm not able to see. And I know I'm not able to see, but how can you see a blind spot? That's what we were saying the other day. And I'm trying too hard to see through it. I can't. I mean, I'm sure there is also physical damage, but there is also an emotion there.
Yeah.
But like, even if I'm doing so much work, there is still the resistance. Because it's like, okay, yeah, all this and this and that, I've seen it, I'm fine with it. But that what I haven't seen yet is still scary.
Yep.
Even if I say I'm ready, am I really ready? I'm not ready until I actually do it.
We're not ready till we're ready.
And there is a song, I don't know if I think Paige that made me listen to that song. It's like, there is a quote that says like, you can't rush your healing. It might be the title as well.
You can't rush your healing.
And I'm like, you can't. Like, I'm trying to rush through my back pain, but I can't.
It's only going to be revealed when we're ready for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes before you feel like you're ready, but...
Yeah, but you cannot force it.
You can't force it. No. I think fear is one of the craziest ones, at least for me personally, because there also comes this like shame around it, or this feeling of like, I shouldn't be feeling fear because I've been doing this work on myself for so long. Why am I still feeling fear? But it's like, it's okay.
It's okay.
Like, just to give ourselves some grace, because the last few months, like I came up against some fear that I hadn't felt for a while. And I think worse than the fear was kind of the shame around it. Was like, oh, I'm still feeling afraid and feeling like a failure. Yeah. Feeling like a failure for still feeling fear. But it's like, I'm a human. Yeah. Like, I'm very human, and it's okay that I feel fear. Yeah.
Like, okay, I think that's a good time to bring in surfing.
Sure. Because let's bring up surfing.
Bring up surfing and the ocean.
Yes.
So the ocean is a great teacher.
Yeah.
And like all the emotions that we go through, it's like if I'm out there in the water with the board, like ready to get slammed, not just physically from the waves, which I do, and they hurt, and then my, like, you know, when you start surfing, it feels like you're beaten up. Then I realized, yeah, because you're getting slammed from the wave, pushed down from the wave, hitting rock from the wave, your board pulling you. So it's like you're getting beaten up physically, but it's also so much of like learning, trusting, self-confidence, awareness, trusting yourself, trusting your intuition. Like, okay, it's okay. Learning how to stand up. You learn that. But that, then I'm like, okay, that's the moment to stand up, but then I wait too long. Why am I waiting too long? Because I'm not trusting myself to stand up when I know it's the right moment to stand up. Okay. And then it's like my intuition telling me, oh, go there is a big wave coming. And then I look there and like, whatever. And then a big wave comes. And then I'm rolling down. I'm like, yeah, I should have listened. Or there is a really good one, which was probably like, it was a huge lesson for me. So there was this day, it was the biggest wipe out ever. Like I was, like normally there is a wipe out, I go down, one head covering my head, and the other arm to kind of use as a radar, like where is up, where is down, where is the air.
Wow.
But that one was so, like I was just like boom, 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 rolling down, and I know like there is no point in trying to stretch my arm because I can just hurt my arm. So it was just like, okay, let's just wait and hold my breath. And then it was silence. Like my mind went on silence. And I was not thinking I'm gonna die. I was not thinking I'm gonna finish my air and, how you say the word?
Drown.
I was just there waiting. And then I realized, oh, that was full surrender. And I was like, I did more than 50 ayahuasca ceremonies, and I needed a freaking wipe out to teach me full surrender. Wow. And like, I learned full surrender the moment that I had no other option, because I cannot say, I'm surrendering now. It doesn't work like that. It's like you surrender when you have no other option. And that moment, it was just, I have no other option. Like, I just have to cover my head, so I'm sure I don't hit the board myself, some other people, whatever.
Some rock, maybe.
Some rocks. It was just like, hold your head and wait. It was also not thinking about what if. What if I don't go up on time?
Right.
But just like, hold your breath and wait. And then I eventually went out, and there was this guy looking at me and laughing. It's like, your face looks like you were down for a bit. I was like, I definitely was down for a bit, yes.
Oh my God.
That stayed with me for a couple of days. It was like, that was the first time I really went into full surrender. And it was enjoyable. It was so nice.
It probably felt amazing.
It felt amazing. And then there was another day that there was this other really big wipe out, and I was down for so long, and then I came out and everything was so silent. Like it felt like this big wave, because like this wave came out of nowhere, honestly, and there was so many people that was just washed out.
Wow.
And then it was so, like, this huge wave had washed just energetically so much away, and there was silence, and I was like, wow, that's so wild.
Wow.
And then there is the part about being in the water and trust, self-confidence, or like bringing up traumas from childhood, like, oh, I'm here catching waves, and I see the guys that are better than me, and they maybe just look in my direction because they're looking at something, and they go into the panic of like, oh, they're laughing at me, they think I'm a failure, they think I can surf, or they're just minding their business. But it's wild because like you think surfers are just surfing, but not. Maybe some are just surfing, I don't know, but there is definitely a portion of people that is like, just, it's learning. There is so much going on because each single wave will teach you something. So
that's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh.
And if you finally get a wave, it feels like you're flying. It's so beautiful. It's amazing. Like, you know, after all the learning process, then you get a wave, and it's
so worth it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, so much about that is just such a good metaphor for life.
Yeah.
It's like even about the intuition things, like so much in life where I'm like, my intuition says something, I ignore it, and then I'm like,
yeah,
why did I ignore it? Or what was that part of me that was like holding me back? But also the full surrender thing, like when you're telling that story, just makes me think, have I ever fully surrendered? Like, no, surrender is such a weird thing because it's something we say like you should do, like in the ceremony or in life, but it's like, it's kind of not something you do though. It's actually more of like what you're not doing.
Yeah.
It's like what you're like letting go of.
Yeah.
It's just these moments of, like, when you talked about that being under the water and having no other option, I'm like, I've felt that before, but I don't think it's ever been because I chose to surrender.
You don't choose to.
It's because you're just kind of, well, this is what's happening. Like I'm here and I can't do anything. Like I can't do anything about the situation. I'm totally not in control. And that's surrender, to just accept that.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Somehow my mind went to making a metaphor with sex. Which is,
love it.
And it's like, you cannot say, oh, right now I want to have an orgasm. It's like, you have to allow yourself to feel.
Yes.
And let go of making your body wanting to do what you want in that moment. It's like, allow what's happening to happen.
Wow.
Allow yourself to move into the ways of pleasure, and then that's coming. You cannot be just like, yes, now. That's how you just
ruin it.
That's how you ruin it.
It's like, good luck.
But like also, yeah, like practicing like sexuality kind of mindfully. It's so interesting because like there is so much I can observe and go into like, oh, my mind is that, of course, like, you know, what does your mind want? An orgasm.
Right.
But then the way to get there is so different. And it's so wild.
That's such a good metaphor. It's perfect.
Yeah, okay,
because
good.
You can't think your way into it. And also you said the way that you allow yourself to surrender is to just feel.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
It's like you have to take your mind out of the equation. It's actually so similar to an ayahuasca ceremony or probably surfing, where it's like, okay, mind, thank you for your input, but we're not going to go that direction right now because that's not going to actually get us what we want.
Yeah.
It's actually just distracting.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? We just feel. We're just aware of our feelings in the present moment. Oh, wow, it's really dark.
It's really dark.
The sun is setting.
Should I switch on the light?
Yeah, sure.
Should we put a no smoking sign on your podcast? Smoking kill yours, but not mapacho.
Yeah, if you could see us or maybe hear us, we're smoking mapacho.
Just like, it's not cigarettes.
Tobacco. Not
just
cigarettes. Mapacho. Pure tobacco from the jungle. So yeah, feeling. Surrendering. Surrendering is just allowing yourself to feel and accepting whatever's in the moment.
Yeah. But you cannot force yourself to do it.
No, you can't force yourself to surrender.
Yeah. Honestly, like, that moment was so wild because I really thought like it took me a wipe out in the ocean, and I had 50 ayahuasca ceremonies already. I was kind of, is that a joke? Like, are you guys up there like laughing at me right now?
Maybe.
But, yeah.
That's beautiful, though.
It was amazing. It was really one of the most beautiful moments.
Yeah.
Because it was really silence and peace.
Wow. Because I just feel like you also had to be so comfortable in the water and with yourself for that to happen. Because I'm thinking if I went out tomorrow, because I'm not a surfer, and so if I just like went out tomorrow and surfed, that happened to me, like I don't think I would just enter full surrender. I mean, maybe I would, but I just really doubt it.
Who knows?
It's just like not, because it's a new experience for me. It's like interesting because I think about ayahuasca ceremonies, which are not a new experience for me, but they're still like a little bit scary every time. But I think because of that practice, if my mind starts getting active, I can talk to it and I can talk to my body and be like, we're just paying attention. Yeah. We're just staying curious. We're just...
Yeah. Probably, I think so.
But then in the water, because it's like such a new experience for me, I don't think I have that like training, but it would be interesting to see. Like maybe my training in ceremony could apply to that.
Maybe sitting ayahuasca and doing vipassana helped me in the wipeout?
I think so. It's kind of like, maybe it took you 50 ceremonies, or maybe those 50 ceremonies were leading you to be able to feel this surrender in the water.
Maybe. Could be.
I don't know.
It's like when we were speaking about, in another podcast, you were speaking with this guy that was like, Vipassana made him feel more comfortable into ayahuasca.
Yeah, Kevin.
And for me, it was like ayahuasca made me definitely feel more comfortable into Vipassana. So it's like how everything is connected and...
It all matters. And as Drew used to say, nothing exists in a vacuum. Like, you can't say, oh, well, it was definitely this that led me to that. It's like there's a million factors. Yeah. And we can't point to the one reason. But I will say, I think you sitting with so much ayahuasca definitely helped you in the water.
We love you,
sure.
Ayahuasca.
We're ayahuasca girlies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
She's
amazing. And I really think of so many ways that she's helped my life, and it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Like, even sometimes when I get, I wouldn't say mad at her, but like, kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what was that? Why are you torturing me? Those kind of feelings. But then I have to really remember, like, how much she's changed my life.
Yeah.
And how grateful I am to all these things. And, like, the things that she's put me through, like, the hard times, it's like, that's what's made me so resilient.
Yeah. Like, when it feels hard, it's because there is a lesson.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, like, let's say if we sit one ceremony now, there is so many things that happen and we're just like, yeah, I don't know, like, whichever entity, whichever thing, whichever darkness, whichever difficulty, we deal with it on the spot without issue. If that would have been our first ceremony, you remember me, I was in one of my first ceremonies, just like crying, shouting in the deepest pain.
Yeah.
And I don't think that my ceremony is now, I'm not facing that pain. It's just that, yeah, I see it, I feel it. Or maybe I just don't feel it to that intensity because I know how to deal with it and I don't get to that extreme. It's like I face it when it arises without accumulating it for
I think that's
25 years.
I think those are both huge parts of it. Because, now when I hear guests being like, oh my God, I'm in so much pain and all I was in was pain for hours, I don't have this like crazy sympathy for them because I've also had that.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
They're
it's
like expecting some
good.
sort of sympathy, but I'm like, you're not going to get that from me because for me, I'm seeing this as like a good thing.
Yeah.
Like you're going through some healing.
That's great.
Feel it. Like,
yeah.
Feel it.
And I feel it's good to have like this, I don't remember who I was talking with about that, but, you know, like, that's known, like, medicine that doesn't taste good. Like, as a kid, medicine will not taste good. To drink ayahuasca is not going to taste good. If you are in the moment where you're actually experiencing healing, it doesn't feel good. And it's just how it is, because if it would feel good, you would already be healed.
Right.
You will not have to go through the pain of healing.
Exactly. And I think everyone subconsciously or consciously knows that they're going to have to go through some painful things. Whether it's physically painful or emotionally, it's like there is no way except through it.
Yeah, my back therapy is so freaking painful. I mean, like,
yeah, who knows what's in your back?
I've seen it in so many different ways. Physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Yep.
One day I might have an answer.
There's probably a lot of stuff, like, or something very deep, very old, or very intense. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, I'm sure you'll figure it out someday.
And the moment I figure it out, then I would be like, huh. Okay, that was it.
Yep. On to the next thing.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. There's no finish line. There's no perfectly healed moment.
Like what you were saying before, like there is no life. Like, you know, I also I don't want to think about my life without ayahuasca. Like that would be terrible.
Yeah. Like I have no idea where I would be right now.
It would be miserable. I would be like one very frustrated, very unhappy person. Probably also physically sick because of the emotions that I was repressing and not looking at.
Right. I see it happening to people our age, like, who haven't done any work on themselves. And I don't mean, like, everyone has to drink ayahuasca, but just, everyone should do some work on themselves. Even if it's meditation or journaling or breathwork or whatever, but just self-reflection. But people who don't do any of that, at our age, they're starting to get really sick.
Yeah, and like, and they look so much older.
Yeah.
Like, there is this thing that, like, if I look at some people my age from the place where I'm from, sometimes I get so confused. I mean, it might sound very bad and insulting and disrespectful, but sorry, that's the truth.
No, I totally agree. I'm just looking at you like, oh, you actually look so young.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
I think that's because we're, you know, like the book, like the Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Like, he was putting everything in the picture, and he was keeping his body young. But actually, like, you know, that's a great metaphor because, like, whatever you don't deal with, it what's the word? Like, rotting.
Yeah.
Makes you rot inside.
Yeah. Yep. You're rotting from the inside.
Yeah.
Anything that you're not dealing with, it's just rotting you from the inside.
And also not just like the emotions, traumas and all of that, but it's also like the way that people go on with life, which is being kind of thrown at them, rather than actually being strong and determined to follow what makes them feel alive. If people say, okay, like the sentence like, what was your dream as a child? As if like, oh yeah, a child's dream. But yeah, why is it just a child dream? Why is it not what you kept working for?
Yeah.
Which things in life made you decide that, no, I just stop with that and go do that job or settle for whatever? And then they look older because they basically stopped living. Living meaning a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
And I think it's natural. Yeah, you're not fueling yourself with good stuff and then you start decaying.
Yeah.
But it's sad.
Wow. It is really freaking sad. People lost the magic.
Yeah,
and it's like, they need to follow that.
Yeah, but on a good side, there is hope for everybody, because then sometimes you see these videos on whatever, Instagram, like of old people going back to fitness and getting back in shape, people with crazy conditions healing themselves at an old age. So it's like,
it's never too late.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. And also, from a shallow perspective, those makeovers are so fun to look at, because I'm just like, wow. Them. Like some guy who's, I don't know, I remember seeing something on Instagram where it was like some guy who was an addict for his whole adult life. And so he had this before picture, and then he worked in the jungle for a few months with ayahuasca and with some plants, and he looked like 10 to 20 years younger.
That's so great.
It was amazing. So it's like, it's never too late, but also, like not following your passion.
You have to put some effort. I remember one video was so cute. There was this old lady. First, she was really struggling walking with the walker. And then there were different videos of her working out in a gym with a trainer. And then in the end, she was doing stuff. I was like, oh, wow, she's lifting more than me, doing stuff that would make me tired. Like, wow. So like, yeah. I mean, even if we think ayahuasca is our best friend and we love her, it's not for everybody.
Right.
It could potentially be for everybody, but it requires a certain effort, determination.
Yep.
Like, you might just need to go to the gym. Or
start eating healthy.
Take a few breaths every day.
Just take some deep breaths when you wake up.
Yeah.
Just 10 of them.
Just 10 of them.
Just go for that.
Yeah. Like, sleep when you're tired rather than drinking coffee or cocaine or whatever.
Listen to your body.
Yeah.
Just simple things. Yeah, I totally agree. And I was just hearing Layla Martin talk about desire and how, like, this is part of my Vita coaching thing, but she's like, when did following your desires become this, like, bad thing?
Right.
Because we're kind of told, like, oh, your desires are bad, or maybe if you just follow everything you want, like, that's leading to this kind of nihilistic or hedonistic way of living where you're just getting everything you want. But it's like, we're not talking about that kind of desire.
Yeah.
We're not talking about, like dopamine hit right now, like sex or drugs or whatever. Yeah. We're talking about, like, what did you come here for?
Yeah. What makes you truly, it's not even happy. What makes you feel calm and peace and at ease?
At ease.
So it's not like, oh, let's buy expensive stuff.
Right.
Like, what makes you feel like at peace?
Yeah.
Like, what makes you feel like, oh, this day was worth living?
Right.
Yeah.
And so many people don't even know where to start with that. Like, they have no idea. Which, to me, it's like, people are like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what my purpose is. That's, like, a really common thing that I hear all the time. It's like, okay, so, well, first, it's almost like they're so far away from that you first have to take care of the basic needs.
The basics, yeah.
Like, let's start with breathing correctly.
Yeah.
Eating correctly. Taking care of your body.
Yeah.
Like, start with that, and then you can have some room to see, like, what am I not? What do I not like? That's where I started. It was like all these things of, well, I definitely don't like staring at a laptop.
Yeah.
I definitely don't like dressing business casual and acting so fake on all these calls. Like, I definitely don't like that. So it's like, finding out what you don't like can be a really good first step.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think the moment of, like, okay, I'm stubborn. Or at least I was very stubborn. So for me, I had to get to the point where I was looking at myself in the mirror and I couldn't see my eyes anymore. It was like fog. I couldn't it's not that I wouldn't see my eyes. Like I know, like I was not blind. Like my eyes were working, but I could kind of not see myself. Like I was seeing a reflection, but I was not identifying. Like that's what I would see in the mirror was not me. I didn't feel like I am what I'm seeing in the mirror. It was so foggy and so confused.
Wow.
And it was horrible.
Woo.
It's like my eyes were, I was not there anymore. Like I was somewhere else, so far away. It was horrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get back to seeing yourself? Really seeing yourself?
Sitting in the jungle with medicine.
I thought that was going to be your answer, but...
Purging a lot, facing my fears.
Yay!
Yeah. But yeah, with great help of people like you, like Stace, Drew, and all the people that I met in the medicine. I had to go through some really crap experiences, like the first retreat center where I went, or retreat center where I worked, which wasn't great. But everything in the end adds up to experience and makes you stronger, makes you learn. So it's like, okay, those places were crap. So I know what I want to create. I know which values I'm bringing in. I know how I want people that will come to our place and retreats feel.
Yeah.
They should not feel like, I don't know, this place is falling apart or these people just care about our money. No, it's like, feel cared for. Like, I remember there was like this time when I was there, and like when I was working there, I was like, people were not happy to be there. They were not feeling taken care of. And I also felt like I'm not able, like in this setting, I'm not really able to give that to people. And then like today at lunch, actually, I was realizing, oh, like, for example, preparing a good meal with my heart, with my love, that's a way to make people feel good. And it's not about, I mean, it could be for someone like setting up a bed nicely. Not for me, because I don't like making beds.
I really don't like it either.
Yeah, like, there are some people that it can be their love language, just like making, like, I remember there was this girl working with me. She was so cute because she really took so much care in making the beds so nice and tidy and pristine. Because she was like, that's where you're going to have your ceremony. It should look so inviting and amazing. I was like, wow, that's so good. And so like everybody can in his own way create like something so inviting and beautiful and make others feel comfortable so that, okay, you're going to face something tough, but you have a setting which is so full of love and support that doesn't matter what happened, you know you are cared for.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That sounds so perfect. And also people can just feel when you put the love and the care into things. Like they could feel if the beds looked kind of shitty. Yeah. Then it's like, even subconsciously, they're like, okay, well, these people don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
About us or about this ceremony. Yeah. But even, it's like, your brain or your subconscious registers all of these small things. And it's like really important to just put your love into everything you do. And people can feel that.
They can feel that, yeah.
That's so beautiful. What we're going to create is so beautiful.
We are. We are definitely going to do it. Yeah.
So exciting. Yeah. And I hope everyone listening has been inspired by Dez's story, because I know I certainly am. And yeah, I mean, seriously, like it's really inspiring to hear everything that you've gone through, all of your hardships, and to see where you are now living your dream life. And it's like only just beginning. And that just kind of shows what happens when you stop letting your life be led by fear.
Yeah. I remember, first of all, thank you, because you've been a big part of all of that.
It's an honor.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you've been there. And I love you.
Me too. I love you so much.
Wait, I was going to say something. Yeah, I remember like you were saying at some point before you started your podcast, you thought the title would be It's All Love. And then I remember having a conversation about basically there is love and there is fear. That's the two things. And it's a simple choice, but a very tough choice. Yeah. But every single moment choosing like what's leading me. What's making me do this choice over the other one? Is it love or is it fear? And then you can answer yourself. And it's fine to be led from fear sometimes, because we're not perfect. We're all here learning. Yep. But like putting some conscious effort in making the hard choice, which is doing things with love, doing things with trust, will give results.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, a bug just flew straight into my eye.
It's time for the invasion of... Okay. Rainy season. bugs invasion.
Yeah, we had the windows open because it was hot, but now we probably have to close the windows. But okay, so we could probably close down
Yeah.
this podcast because otherwise we'll get attacked by huge moths and mosquitoes.
Mhm.
But thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for doing the podcast. We took a while to do it, but I'm so happy we did it.
I'm so happy we did it. I'm sure we'll do another.
Yes, for sure.
I love you so much.
Love you. Should we do a last hug? So good. Okay.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Oh.